All right, team. So in this video, we're going to talk about the NR7. The NR stands for narrow range over the past 7 candles. And this is a more intermediate bot. The opening range breakout, the orb, and the snapback are kind of set up as one and done, kind of beginner level bots that take 1 trade a day and they're done. This bot is more intermediate because it can take multiple trades per day. And so let's dive into it. So the first thing you'll notice when you launch the NR5 and the strategy analyzer is that there is a couple new things that you may not have seen before. One is the narrow range 7. The narrow range refers to a specific candle. That is, the range refers to, let's say, the high and the low, right? So let's say in this example, the high and the low, let's say it represents $4, okay? What it's looking for it's doing the 7 represents a look back period. So if this was to be candle number 7, it's going to look back candle number 6, 5. It's beautiful. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It's going to look back over all the different candles, and it's going to look at what are the narrowest range. So if these other candles are significantly taller, let's say that looks like a 6-foot tall guy, 6-foot tall, again, the high and the low, and let's say that this represents $8. What is the narrowest range? And a lot of times what happens is as price action goes higher and starts reversing, the candles start getting a little bit narrower, right? As it goes higher and higher and higher. And so if you were to look at a candle that's just rather small, a small meaning the high and the low, it's going to look back 7 candles and say, is this the narrowest range? And you can set this up so the 7 could be a 5, it could be a 4. This is not a math strategy. This is a fairly well-known strategy that represents the narrow range. One of the very first strategies that I actually learned trading stock years ago, back in 2016. So it's pretty interesting. So in this case, we ran a back test. We're looking at MNQ on a 3-minute chart, and this does have some other functionality that's a little different than the orb and the snapback, one of them being a trailing stop. You can set this to, once you're at 20 ticks profit, you're going to trail this maybe by 10 ticks, or right. And a tick represents the smallest unit of measurement that trades. In this case, MNQ is 25-cent ticks, right? Which means it trades in 25-cent increments. The other thing is, because you have maximum multiple trades per day, you can say, I want to have no more than X number of trades per day. Again, these are all variables that you can set up and configure and also optimize on your own. They do have come with some defaults. The cancel after X number of candles is basically where the order will cancel if it's not set up and triggered by 5 candles, right? 5 candles after the order is placed. So in this case, let's go ahead and run the back test. It looks like it's pretty solid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our chart, and we're going to look at an example of how this works. This does kind of work similar to the orb, where it's going to play the direction it breaks. In this case, entry here, stop here, and a take profit up here, our green line. Now, how did it know to take a trade on this exact candle? Well, what we do on the right is we specify the start time. So 7:20 start time, meaning somewhere right over here is where we're going to start looking for the narrow range. And the system will essentially evaluate every single candle. Is this the narrowest? Is this the narrowest? Is this the narrowest? The narrowest representing the high and the low. And you'll see that in this candle, the one that has the blue dot is the narrow range. It is the narrowest, smallest, shortest. Looks, maybe you'd say, kind of the height of a toddler, whereas some of these other candles are significantly bigger. So it's going to take this as our signal candle. It's going to wait for a break above or a break below, and then throw out an order. In this case, it took a bullish trade. Okay. Now, the next one, obviously here, it looks for a break. And sorry, it's going to look for the narrowest candle. So if you look back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, that's configurable. 7 candles. Here is the narrow range, kind of where we're specifying how far you can go back. And what happens is, in this case, it says, okay, this is the narrowest range going back 7 candles, and it breaks below. So it goes ahead and gets short. And then in this case, we were stopped out, and it never actually came down to it never made it down to the take profit. So in that case, it was a loss. So in this case, I have it just running on Tuesdays only for to look at the trades themselves and let that load. You'll see that I have this set up to run 1.8 R for the profit taker, $500 of risk. So basically, looking for that so about $900 or so and wins, $900 wins, and then basically a $500 or less loss. And you'll see that I don't have any anomalies set up here. And you'll notice that because it's a narrow range, and because I have this set to maximum of 100 lots, that you'll see my quantity here. I don't actually ever max that out. Over here on in the quantity column, I never hit the max there. And then the number of bars, the 6, the 10, all of those, how many candles does it take to get in and out of the trade? In this case, we're using a 3-minute chart. So it's in and out pretty quickly. It does set up and it does allow you to take multiple trades per day. Obviously, if you're taking 3 trades a day, you need to give consideration to what your risk is. If you're using full-size risk 3 times a day and all 3 lose, that means you could lose 3 R in a day. What I recommend for some of these, if you're using a $500 risk, let's go to half size if you're using multiple trades per day. And that will give us a little bit more conservative, not as aggressive of a posture, so that we're able to get into the trades. And if they lose, if we're using half risk, we're technically only using 1.5 R in a day and not full 3 R if all trades lose. So again, in this case, that's kind of what I have for the NR7. You guys are able to look at this. The current version is 4.5. We'll have some new updates and that, of course, that come out over time as we add to it and improve and update our technology. So that's what I have for you. Please reach out if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.